the Browns for 1 second in. Let me throw something at you. And you know me, I root for popcorn storylines, right? Let's say they have a hint that the Browns have a hint. It's gonna be 6 to 8 games, which is a fairly long time, right? And it's not out of the realm of possibilities that it can't be 6 to 8 games, right? What if they were to keep Baker and force him to play those fucking 6 to 8 games? Could you imagine? Could you imagine the storylines? Like just the hoopla around the Cleveland Browns that would exist. And I know they don't want to put themselves through that. They don't want to put Baker through that. It's gonna be an absolute circus. But part of me just wishes it could happen. Because in all reality, that is probably the sound move. If you take all the feelings aside, you take all the BS aside, that is the correct move to keep this really good, healthy, Baker Mayfield. Obviously he's a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett when he's healthy. So you keep him on the roster while your number one dog is serving a suspension. That's the right move. Unfortunately, all the feelings get attached to it, and that's where it becomes a nightmare.
Right. I mean, that would definitely be a bizarro world AC-130 gunship to the NFL storylines for the season, because that's all anybody's going to be talking about. Because let's say, like, the off chance, like, Baker actually performs pretty well. I mean, you're not going to get rid of Deshaun Watson, but, like, you're not – what are you going to do? Like, you're going to bench him, and he's going to be the squeaky wheel, and it's going to be the cancer in the locker room, and then you're going to trade him in the offseason? Like, oh – I would be here for all that chaos, but I don't know. I don't know what the Browns are going to do. And to me, this is kind of the instance of the Browns are going to Brown, right? Mm-hmm. Like they put out this half-ass statement that was just a bunch of word salad about trading for Deshaun and how they did this air quote comprehensive investigation into Watson and the allegations. They talked to Watson directly, which Watson's just going to tell you what you want to hear. So to me, the comprehensive investigation is, all right, we spoke to Rodgers' office, and we may or may not have got an inkling of how long of a suspension is going to be, and that determined whether or not we're going to fully guarantee his contract and restructure his the base salary for the first year. But I don't know, man. Like now, what are you going to do? Because Baker's 5th-year option's fully guaranteed. They picked that up last year. So if you cut him, you're going to be on the hook for $18 million. And if you trade him to Seattle or the Panthers, which are the only two teams that have open quarterback spots at this point, but the Panthers want nothing to do with Baker, according to Pro Football Network. So it's really just the Seattle Seahawks. Are they going to want to pay $18 million to Baker Mayfield when they could just draft Malik Willis or Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett, in the first round and get them cheap on the rookie contract and rebuild around them? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Logically, I feel like they're just going to eat it and cut him, and where he's just going to sign somewhere as a free agent, and where that's going to be, I have no idea.
Puma, as the days go on, I think there's a good chance Baker Mayfield might not be on a roster week 1. Because as we're looking, now we're looking at the quarterback market is drying up, right? So Matt Ryan went to the Colts, so the Colts are out of it. The Atlanta Falcons, they ended up signing Marcus Mariota to a 2-year deal. The Panthers have mutual quote-unquote disinterest with, and Baker Mayfield have mutual disinterest against joining the Panthers. So that's not going to happen. Really, Seattle looks like they might be in a let's tear down to the studs, throw Drew Lock out there, figure out if he's any good this year, and then move on from there mode. So it might just really come down to, the Browns are going to cut him, and then he's just going to sit there until somebody gets hurt or somebody's playing really horrifically and somebody's going to bring him in. So, I mean, I really can't even venture a guess, Puma, truthfully, like where he's going to go. I mean, what? Like, I don't know. I mean, the Texans said no to him, right? So that's not an option. Seattle, I'm at a loss for words right now. Like, I can't even pick a team like maybe the New York Giants. Maybe they can go out and try to get him, but I don't think they want to put all that into the locker room, right? It's not
right
just
because they just signed Tyrod.
Exactly right. It's not just the fact that Baker is a quarterback that demands a lot of attention. He's a little bit of a cancerous player as well in the locker room. And I hate using that term, but that is what you gotta, when you're talking about other people's contracts like you did in Cleveland, or you're grabbing your crotch, or you're calling up the medical team. It's always something with Baker. It's never a smooth, easy transition. And I always say the quarterback of your team is basically the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, right? Each one of these franchises in the NFL is worth 2-3 billion plus, and most Fortune 500 companies are that as well. And the quarterback is the CEO of that, so he's got to be an adult, and clearly he's not. And I just wouldn't want him in my locker room either. So I think it might come down to the fact that he's going to be relegated to a backup role, or he's going to kind of sit out for a while.
Right. I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to get cut. He might be a training camp fill-in if somebody gets hurt, which is crazy to say considering how he's really not that far removed from being the first overall pick in the NFL draft.
It's only been 4 years.
Same draft class. Yeah, it's only 4 years. It's the same class as, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, the list goes on. It's crazy. But that's the only thing I can think of. Watch, you'll get the Bill Belichick gif of him going up to Foxborough to be the backup.
I wouldn't mind that.
Mac Jones.
Puma, I wouldn't mind that. I think he's a much better quarterback than Mac Jones. I think he is, as a healthy Baker Mayfield, he is a far and away better quarterback than Mac Jones. Bring him in. Bring in Baker Mayfield. Please, God.
Well, and Jay, in all seriousness, I said that just to get a rise out of you a little bit, but
well, congratulations, you did.
In all seriousness, though, you got to agree with me here. Like you said, Baker Mayfield is a lot of things, but you can't say he's not tough because we saw him gut out the injuries last season in a vain attempt to try to get, in my opinion, a new contract with the Cleveland Browns. And we saw what he did the year prior when, everything was firing on all cylinders with the new head coach. I thought the Stefanski marriage with him was good with that offense that they were trying to do. And the kid's got ego. He does seem a little bit mentally tougher that he doesn't have to be escorted off the field by a head coach. I don't think I wouldn't laugh, or I would understand, I should say, if that news came out and you put out the Bill Belichick walking gift to go get him.
I would use that. I would use that, and I hate that gift, and you know this, but I would wholeheartedly use that. I would get a Baker Mayfield Patriots jersey. That is how much dislike I have for Mac Jones. But let's move forward. I think a perfect spot before we derail this podcast for 30 minutes of me yelling and having an aneurysm, but I think a really good spot for him, and this makes a lot of sense, and Dan Orlovsky tweeted this. Why didn't he go to the Buccaneers?
Oh, God.
No, think about it. Let's think about it for a second.
Do they even have the cap room?
Oh, come on. We've already gone past this point.
I know.
We can figure it out.
Cap is crap.
We can figure it out, all right?
Cap is crap, but you have Tom Brady there. You got Kyle Trask, right? Kyle Trask is Kyle Trask.
Well, hear me out. Hear me out for a second, all right? Hear me out. He's not going to play for 2 years at least. I mean, I don't know what Tom Brady's plans are, but Tom Brady's not going to be there for 5 years, all right? Truthfully, I think this might be his last year, maybe 2 at max, all right? Let's say it's 2 years. You don't think 2 years of Baker Mayfield sitting behind Tom Brady and learning how to be a leader, learning how to be a quarterback, and obviously this comes down to Baker Mayfield wanting to do that, which I don't think he would want to. But if he was to be sold the backup idea, it might be easier to swallow if you're backing up the greatest of all time. You feel me? At that point, you're going in saying, oh, I'm never going to supplant him, so I'm just going to learn, take it in. And I think it might do good for his career. There is no other option right now. We're talking about him being cut and then sitting at home for half the year. What if he does go into the Tampa Bay locker room? They might have their starter after that. Let's say in 2 years, he's 28. You still got 10 more years out of him after Brady retires. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out somewhere to put this guy because I can't rationalize it. We all know, Jimmy G's going to end up somewhere. We know Matt Ryan, went to the Colts. Everything kind of fits. His personality and persona is causing a major issue with a lot of these teams not wanting to bring him in.
Right. I mean, Josh Rosen sat behind Tom Brady for a little bit, and that didn't help him out any.
Good point. Good point.
You know what I'm saying? I get it. I understand. But I don't know. I think at this point, it's either Seattle or bust, whether via trade, and if it's by trade, I don't think Cleveland's going to get more than a fifth for him. Or he gets cut and he signs on the cheap for with the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, he's going to be getting $18 million. It's guaranteed. That 50-year option is guaranteed. So he's going to be getting paid either way. But it's Seattle or bust. And then, Jay,